Hey everybody, Mark Davis with a great joy and privilege, joined by naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who I've known for years. We've had so many conversations over the years about healthy living, for human beings like him and like me. But as you know, if you've been listening to the show, there's an enormous focus now on health for your dogs. We all say we love our dogs, but do we really love them enough to give them all the nutrition they need? And the dog food industry is broad and vast, and there are great dog foods out there. But the Ruff Greens, RUFF, Ruff Greens family is what I'm trying to get you familiar with. And we thought it'd be a great idea to talk to Dr. Black about Ruff Greens and how it can make for a happier, healthier dog. Dr. Black, great to talk to you today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks. Good to talk to you again.
It's an enormous pleasure. Let's introduce folks to you because when I first met you, you've been involved in the naturopathic sciences for decades, but you've got this history as an airborne ranger, a helicopter pilot, and just a love of country and a love of community and a heart for service that you've brought to everything you do. Tell everybody about you.
So I was drafted during the Vietnam War. I fortunately didn't have to go to Vietnam at that time. But I was drafted into the Army and ended up with A Company 75th Rangers at Fort Hood, Texas, and served most of my 3 years with the Ranger Company. And then I went to Korea for a year, came back and joined the 20th Special Forces Group as a reserve person, and then ultimately got selected to go to flight school at Fort Rucker, Alabama, and ended up flying helicopters for the rest of my time in the military.
How did the sense of service that you brought to serving the country, at what point did life take its direction into naturopathic practices and the focus that you've had now in a career devoted to health?
Well, I was actually in my last year of law school, and I came down with stage 4 cancer. I had kidney cancer that had spread to my lymphatic system, and they did surgery, and they said, nothing we can do for you. Chemotherapy won't work. Radiation won't work. You're on your own. You got about 3 to 6 months tops. And that was 1983. So that was quite some time ago.
When you learn something that about yourself, in just a second, because that's just stunning to hear. You learn that gives a certain urgency to things, doesn't it? It's like, wow, if there's some truths in life and nutrition, it's time to figure out what they are.
Well, the first question that I asked myself was, if I only had 6 months to live, would I want to spend my last 6 months on this planet as an attorney? And the answer was no.
What a great question.
So if I don't want to spend the last 6 months, I don't want to spend any 6 months. And so I dropped out of law school and began to really investigate natural healing and natural health. And that led me down the path to ultimately to juicing and to naturopathic medical school. And that's kind of how that fork in the road occurred.
And that is when I met you and was learning all these things about the wisdom of human nutrition. And a lot of it, I mean, listen, for any living being, there's certain truths that are shared. And so now let's talk about how you decided to take your knowledge and your wisdom about that and turn it toward the pets that we all love so much and talk about Ruff Greens. And we'll get to the specifics of Ruff Greens. But what made you think about taking a look at all the millions and millions of dogs and saying, there's dog food and there's pretty good dog foods out there, but it's just not enough. I want to make something to sprinkle on top of dog food so that all the dogs can be healthy.
Yeah, I wish it had been that easy. Actually, it wasn't quite that easy, because back when I first started getting phone calls from people who had been patients, and they said, thanks for getting us healthy. Is there anything you can do for our dog? Because we're spending so much money on our dog at the vet, it's ridiculous. So I began to look at pet nutrition, and I saw that what makes dogs sick is the same thing that makes people sick, which is what they eat. And so I looked at I understand that they need enzymes and probiotics and omega oils and antioxidants and all of that stuff. I toured a dog food factory, and through high pressure pasteurization, they kill every living thing in kibble dog food. There's not one live thing in it. And so I said, well, this is the problem. The dogs aren't getting the live nutrition that they need. Everybody thinks that dogs are carnivores, but they're not. They're omnivores like we are. And they need all of those specific vitamins and minerals and omega oils and antioxidants and probiotics. They need all that stuff to keep their gut health and and their skin is healthy and all of that. So, when you look at people who eat fast food on a regular basis, you see they have horrible skin because that's one of the things that happens when you eat processed foods every day of your life. And so that's unfortunately what most people's dog ends up eating processed food every meal of every day of every year. And ultimately, 50% of all dogs that live more than 10 years die from cancer. That's just a fact. And so, you have to ask yourself, what causes the cancer? And it is, unfortunately, what we're feeding them. So is there a better solution? Yes, there is. There's some great solutions out there. But none of the solutions that are on the market have all of the live nutrition that the dogs need. And that's why we created Ruff Greens.
So what are the kind of changes that dog owners can expect when all of a sudden they're not just getting the dog food of choice, but the essential vitamins and minerals, the omega oils, the digestive enzymes, the probiotics? What kind of things can they expect to see from the dogs in their lives?
Well, the reality is that people think that things like bad breath and bad skin and itching and paw licking and hard stools and joint pain and all that stuff, they think that all of those issues are medical issues, and they're really not. They're digestive issues from a nutritional imbalance. So when you start giving the dog the nutrients that it needs, you'll find all of those things begin to disappear, literally sometimes in days, weeks, months at the outside. Joint health is better. I mean, we have tens of thousands of five-star reviews from people, and I read them every day. I read every post that people make of how their dog miraculously has turned around. Their older dog who could no longer jump up on the couch now jumps up on the couch, assuming that you want your dog to jump up on the couch.
I was going to say there may be
right?
a training issue there, but they can do it if they want to.
Yeah, that's right. And so the reality is that when you start giving them the things that they need, there's no part of their health that doesn't get better. We have some people that come to us with the dogs that are on their last leg, and they're really saying that Ruff Greens is the rebound effect for their dog. Their dog absolutely turns the corner and starts getting healthier.
We have been so proud to be sending people to ruffgreens660.com, R-U-F-F, ruffgreens660.com, where you can get the free Jumpstart trial bag. If you guys out there listening, you just handle the shipping, we'll get you a free Jumpstart trial bag. And I'm guessing that what people usually find is once they get the trial bag, it makes them want to go ahead and join the family and become a normal consumer of Ruff Greens, because who doesn't want a healthier dog?
Well, the reason that, look, there's no magic pill, right, that's going to fix everything in, one day or 1 week. Nutrition is something that takes time. We give you the trial bag so that you'll be able to incorporate it into your routine and your dog's food, make sure the dog will eat it, make sure it's not too big of a problem for your routine, and then 14 days later, we'll send you a 28-day supply bag, and you just keep giving it to your dog. The longer that you give Ruff Greens to your dog, the healthier they will become. And people say, well, there's got to be a limit. I don't know. We haven't reached that limit yet. We've had people that have had their dogs on Ruff Greens for years and years and years, and they just keep reporting that they just keep thinking that this dog is going to fade at some point, but they don't. They just keep picking up steam. I have a 9, almost 10-year-old German Shepherd who still runs 25 miles an hour. I know that because he chases the Kubota.
Say, if we measure this officially.
Yes.
And then I've got a similar story because our golden retriever, Jake, is 11. He'll be 12 in a few months. And just in the brief amount of time that we've been on Ruff Greens, and his little brother, Bruno, his little 6-year-old terrier, and you talked about the routine. It could not be easier. They now have come to expect it. They know what the bag sounds like. They know what a can sounds like. They now know what the Ruff Greens bag looks like. And they know that I'm about to dip in there and sprinkle sprinkle that out over top, and they just love the taste, and they just snarf it. And the benefit to both of them is already evident. We've just been doing it for a few weeks in terms of their coat, in terms of their breath, in terms of digestion. So Dr. Dennis Black, making people healthier, making dogs healthier. Just to wrap up, what is this? What has this meant to you? It's you've obviously had a heart for service to our country. You've served all kinds of people in helping us lose weight and eat better. So many millions of dogs. I always say in the radio messaging, we say we love our dogs, but if we really, really do, we'll give them everything good we can find. And it must be very special to you to provide just that kind of product.
Well, I made a promise 40 years ago that if God would help me with my cancer and show me a way through that I would spend the rest of my life helping other people with their health. Well, I realized that every dog is an emotional support dog. And so by helping people's dogs, I'm really helping them emotionally. So in addition to our human products, I'm really proud that Ruff Greens has not only been received well by people, but their dogs are just absolutely turning the corner, getting healthier on less prescriptions, less medications, less trips to the vet, and more joy for the owner.
It is so easy. You just add a scoop. The benefits are lifelong. The nutrition is obvious. Dogs love it. And let me send everybody to Ruff Greens, R-U-F-F, ruffgreens660.com. Ruffgreens660.com for the free Jumpstart trial bag. You just pick up the shipping. Thank you very much. And you will do what I have done, and is join the Ruff Greens family. Dr. Dennis Black, it's great to have you in our professional family and to partner up with you to keep the doggies healthy. Appreciate you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mark. I'll talk to you soon.